Welcome back, everybody. We are going to be talking laser level. I've had to split this video up into two parts. Part one is going to be the basics of this thing. If you don't know what a laser level is, you're not positive what you can actually do with a laser level. Will it benefit me? That's for you. That's why the thumbnail says a laser level, everybody needs one. And it's a great tool as a homeowner for your arsenal. So let's get this ball rolling. Now, if you're wanting to see more in-depth stuff, you may want to catch the video after this one. That'll be number 2. So let's do this thing. Welcome to Let's DIY My Home, where like-minded people are working together to tackle your project. Everything from a complicated remodel to as simple as repairing a door. That's letsdiyimyhome.com. We'll see you there. So let's kick this thing off. Number 1, let's use it for picture frames. Now, this is directed to the guys. How many of you guys have gone and hung pictures in your house to find out you have yet to do it right? This laser level saves a lot of headache. It saves you guys from getting upset. We take this laser level. Now on the bottom of this thing, I actually have a tripod end on here right now. It comes standard with a bracket like this. It has a magnetic side on it. It has a little nut that screws on the bottom. So this 1/4 screw plate comes off. This can screw on it. I can put a nail in a wall somewhere if I know what height I want my beam to be. I can do it that way. So I'm going to use a tripod as an example right here because that's what I got handy. Slap that thing in here. And this one happens to be a cheap one, but it's perfect for something like this. I turn this beacon on. Boink, just like that. Don't argue with me. And you can see my picture frame is not straight. We'll deal with that in a minute. But right now, your spouse, or maybe you, I can take this beacon, put it anywhere I want on a wall to determine where I want my picture. This would either be the bottom corner or the top corner of my picture. I can raise it, I can lower it according to what I think I may want or need. Once I got the okay from my wife, Mama, that's where she wants the picture, I then can take that picture like you see me doing here. I'm measuring across the back from the right side to the little mechanism that hooks onto the nail, from the bottom to that mechanism. So then I can transfer it over off of the laser line and put that picture exactly where she wanted it. I scored. I'm not in trouble. I'm not doing it twice. I'm not doing it 3 times. Maybe you want to do a collage of pictures like this one here. You can do that. You can scatter a wall full of photos and design them, lay them all out. Use this thing, move it all over, up and down, left and right. Heck, I can actually take this thing. Maybe I got a staircase that we're going to go up, and Mama says, I want the pictures. Your wife says, I want the pictures along the wall all the way up, and I want them 6 feet or 5.5 feet off of the step. It used to be to do something like that was a real thorn in the butt. Not now, because you can sit there, take that thing, mark out on the wall on the bottom side where the steps are starting, where your mark is at. Your spouse can be on the top side with her finger holding on the wall where she wants it to be, because that's the 5.5 foot mark. And you line that beacon up between the 2 points, you're set to go. Now all we have to do is take the picture. Mama goes and puts tape on the line where she wants these particular pictures of her choice, and she stacks them in order. So now all thing you have to do is put the corner of the picture on the red line and make sure it's level. So in that scenario, and that's the only scenario, where I would line the picture up on the line, take this on the top side of that picture, and just tweak it enough so it comes within the bubble, so it's what? Not plumb, but good enough. We're going to put all the pictures up on the wall just as you're seeing done here. Now, they do sell a laser level that just adheres to the wall. Well, why would one want that when there's so many more uses, and I could take a crosshair level like I have here and do the same thing? Does that make sense? I'm going to spend $20 on one that shoots up a wall for lining up pictures, or I spend $30 or $50 and I get something that I can do other things with. I'll come to that one. So let's talk about painting the boys' room. How about number 2 use? Painting. We can paint with a laser level. How many of you have decided at one point in your lives you wanted a 2-tone wall? Or maybe even a 3-tone wall? In the past, that was challenging because we would go and measure up over here, and about 5 feet over, we would measure up again and mark it. 6 feet over, we'd measure up again, and maybe 12 feet over, we'd measure up again, whatever you decide to do. And you go and you stretch that tape across, you got it in place, and you look back and it does what? The wave. How annoying can that be? Now, because I'm using a laser level, just like me here, boom, I start at the one end and I just tape right across. When I'm done and I followed that beacon, I did not have this anymore. How fast? I measured one time, I marked one spot, come across with my tape, and I can take this thing and rotate it all the way around the room, just as I'm doing right now. And when I come back, I'm going to be in the same spot. That's perfect. You see, a laser level, this particular one, is about an eighth inch, or in 35 feet, its fluctuation is 1/8 of an inch. This particular level that we're also familiar to using, you look, there's a little bubble in the center of it. And as long as I'm in that bubble, we're good enough. But the reality is, if I bring it over just to that line, that's a 1/16 of an inch from being plumb on 2 feet. So if it's 4 feet, that's an 1/8 of an inch. And if it's 8 feet, that's a 1/4. In a lot of cases, you can be 3/8 inch out of plumb too, but it's still good enough under the construction. Laser levels will not let you down. If you want to put a line somewhere for painting, it will be dead on all the way around the room. Makes it so simple. Stripes on the wall. You decide. You want them a foot apart? Do you want them 12 feet apart? How about making a master bedroom look like this? It goes from the blah to wow. Real simple. And all it took was putting a 2-tone wall and just accent the top 2 feet. It drastically changes your room. Some of you just got ideas from that, and that's good. Then it was worth the video. Number 3. What about wallpaper? I know a lot of homeowners like to do their own wallpaper. You can use it for wallpaper. Incidentally, before I forget, if you're thinking about doing wallpaper in a room, always start by the corner. I was going to say in the corner, but that's incorrect. Start by the corner. If my wallpaper roll is 24 inches, then my corner, I want to be about 20 to 22 inches away from the corner. And the reason that is that allows it to roll around that corner, you see? And then as I continue on around the room, the odds of me hitting another corner are close to nil. It has happened. But it's been a long time. Maybe if in boys' rooms, you're going to do box cars all over the place on the top part. And because of where the two wallpapers come together, nobody's perfect, so we use a 6-inch band, and we just take this thing and we drop it down, just like that. Now we just take that 6-inch band, run it through, get it all wet, and we start sticking it right to the laser line. How simple. That was number 3. Here's bonus round number 4. How many of you guys have actually gone to hang a mirror up in a bathroom? It doesn't have to be a mirror. It could be a picture. It could be anything you hung on the wall. And you knew, maybe you were putting a shelf up and you needed to hit the stud. That was the goal anyway. And we bought this this stud finder for whatever it was for $50 because we knew we would use it more often than not. And we ran across the wall and it went dee-dee-dee-dee. And then it went beep. And then you go back a little bit or whatever it does. And you put a mark because that's where it said the stud was. Then we turn around and we set the thing down. We grab our hammer and our nail and we're going to test it. And we go to hit the nail and we just knocked it right through the sheetrock. And there was no stud. That ever happened to you? It happened to me. So if it didn't do what you needed to do, what was it worth? Here's a $14 magnet. Would you believe I just learned this about 5 years ago? Instead of using a stud finder, get yourself a high quality magnet and you can see it's going to walk. Whoa, not on the keyboard. Woo! Wherever I move this thing, I can throw it across the floor and you can see, or throw it across the floor, throw it across the table. There's screws underneath this going into this wood. It finds them. So if it can find them here, it can find them there. Let's switch the cameras. We're going to go back to this, and I'm going to put this on the wall, and I want you to see. Seeing is believing. That one. How simple was that just to find a stud? Much easier than grabbing this thing trying to find the stud, this stupid stud finder that only works 70% of the time. Take my laser level. I now marked it. I now have just marked a stud. And if you don't necessarily believe that could be the stud because perhaps the sheetrocker turned around and put a screw in and missed the stud. Always possible, isn't it? Let's find out. Well, it appears that just took care of that problem, didn't it? Directly on that line. How awesome is that? Number 5, we just did it. Marked out wall studs. Maybe as one of your first DIY projects, you decide because the house you purchased, because you're in your 30s, this is your first home, and you're excited, but you absolutely hate the oak trim, as my children have done. They pulled it all out. They managed to learn. They dove in, bought themselves a little saw just like this for $135. Were able to go around and play with cutting up wood and cutting angles to get the basics down, turned around and put all their own trim in and painted it. I thought they were absolutely out of their gourd. I told my daughter, "You're crazy." She proved me wrong. Sometimes when we get old, our vision gets narrow. It takes the youth to bring us back into check. Marking out the wall studs. I can turn around, go to the floor, mark out where every stud is because maybe you're putting a 1x8 band or floorboard, new floorboards around the perimeter. You can now mark the studs so when you put the nail in, you don't miss because as a newbie, you really need to hit wood. When you put trim on, whether you're making a decorative piece that you want to hang on the wall somewhere, you need to hit the wall stud. That magnet just did it. Number 5, hanging some shelving up. Maybe you want to put shelving in your garage because over time we've collected enough boxes of junk we have piled in the corner and we're not able to use that last stall anymore. So what happens if we go put shelving up? We take this laser level, determine this is the height we want. We go buy ourselves some shelving brackets like this particular one right here. And then what we do is we take this over, butt this up to the line, just like this. Boom. Put it on the line. And because we used the magnet to find our studs, and this was also on a stud because we knew about it because of the magnet, now we just had to put 2 screws through here and we drilled it right into the wood or the wall stud. This becomes so strong at that point. I can then come over, incidentally, if this type of stuff is new to you, you really do not want to put these brackets any further than 3 feet apart. You will get a bow in them if you put heavy stuff in the middle, especially if you just use regular shelving that's at your big box stores that's made out of press board. It will sag. So most houses are framed 16 on center. So I put one at the first one. The second one is going to be 16. The third one would be 32. Number 6. How about using this thing for leveling out things? Because you bought the one with the green laser, we can use it outside. We can use it to level out a deck. We can use it to level out a shed, for instance, just strictly by putting it on the highest point. Let me show you what I mean. I set this thing up here. Now you can set it on a deck too. Wow, something ain't straight. Good enough. Okay, let me switch cameras. Now I can take, because I have this on the highest point of the deck, all right, we can take this thing, start out at one corner of the deck, one corner of the shed, and see that we're at 19 1/8 of an inch. Go to the back corner, and maybe now you're at, come back in here, 21. So you got about 2 inches drop in the back corner. Simple. We can either use a 4x4 and raise it, or a jack and raise it, whatever we need to do, and just raise it up, shim it, re-anchor it. Done. All right, the upper corner, nope, it'll be on this side, I believe. This is the next video. That'll be out within the next day or two. Hopefully at the latest 3. And that one's going to get more in detailed as towards remodeling projects, because you can actually use this thing for, maybe you want to cut a hole in the wall and make a closet. There you go. We can use it for layout, laying out walls. We can do many different things with it, tiling, and that's the stuff that we're going to go into in the next video. All right. Last thing I want to say is, wow. Thank you, all the new subscribers. I cannot believe this week that I had about 35 new subscribers. There's too many of them to list, so thank you all. With that said, you guys have a fantastic evening. Thank you for joining me once again. And please hit the like button. That like button is extremely important. Okay? The more times that like button gets smacked, the more times this video actually gets promoted. YouTube says, okay, people are actually liking it, so we'll share it more. That means by you smacking the like button, more of the community, why am I staring at the mic? More of the community of YouTubers here get to see this thing. So again, God bless you all. Bye now.